I I have to tell you this is me. They kicked my door down. I, so let me just kind of this is a story that happened to me. They kicked my door down and they aggressively came. I This is a story that happened to me. They I'm at home with my family. I'm relaxing. I'm having a normal. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, brothers and sisters all over the world. Kakas and dadas and kakas all over the world. Whichever time of the day this message finds you, the name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. On this channel, we're going to talk about world events that affect you, your lives, your children, their lives, the elderly, their lives, people that look like you and me, our people all over the world, and how these world events affect us, and they'll be looked at from our perspective. All right, everybody. Just got to jump in right now to let you know we're going to talk about these issues economically. We're going to spend some time every week talking about issues around the world uh, and how those issues affect us in our future, our security, our safety. People making headline headlines about different things that affect us. So a little different, a little new format, but I think it'll be informative, it'll be helpful, and it should put in your mind things to think about, the economic impact of those things on us and how they uh, could impact and should impact positively our future and our prosperity. Okay. Top of the news lately, all over the world, is the Palestinian Israeli conflict. When we talk about the Palestinian and Israel conflict, there are some things that need to be pointed out in the beginning, things that will give you a certain perspective, a certain way of looking at it. We're not going to talk about the perspective that the mainstream media puts out every day. We're not going to talk about that because that is not an African perspective, a Black African perspective. It leaves out too many details about the situation that affects you, affects me, people that look like you and me. So, in order for us to really understand and to be able to look at these issues, to get a good understanding of these issues, we need to consider some basic things. One of which is, are you looking at them from a common sense lens? And we know common sense is not that common anymore. It's been removed, it's been replaced with education. And that normally would be a good thing. In fact, if you think that education and having education is a good thing, and having education replace your common sense is a good thing, then you probably do have a little common sense remaining. But there is a problem on the other side of that coin. If you believe that education in and of itself can replace common sense, then you may have lost or be in the process of losing all of your common sense. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is common sense being replaced with education means that you're losing a certain part of your instinct, your natural instinct, your sense of awareness, your ability to be able to see things in front of you, the reality, your environment in front of you naturally. If you were in danger, to be able to recognize that you're in danger and to be able to come up with a plan of action to protect yourself while you're in that danger. Well, that kind of involves your common sense. Now, if your common sense is replaced with education, then we're talking about an unnatural process, a process that has been created by individuals or people, groups of individuals who make certain decisions about the knowledge and the information contained in that education. And if that information is not helpful to you, if that information is dangerous to you, if that information will not allow you to see the reality around you, then that education is miseducation. It can be considered uneducation. It can be considered misinformation, misdirection, or to kind of be reminiscent of our good brother. Those of you who would recognize the comment, you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, swindled, misled, uneducated. Do you understand? So why would the education and common sense be an issue at hand when it comes to Palestine and Israel? Well, the best way I can put it is the following. I'm going to give you an example of something, and you tell me later in the comments, you mention it, and you tell me whether or not you're able to give an opinion about what I'm about to tell you using your common sense lens, if you still have it. And if you don't have it, then use your educated opinion, your informed opinion, which is what they tell you have once you take their education. You use whichever perspective you have, and you tell me whether this situation sounds reasonable to you. A reasonable person, would they view it in the way that common sense would tell us how to view it? So let me begin. Okay, I'm in my house, you're in your house, you're having a cup of coffee, okay, and you're relaxing. You have your children with you. Your family is at home enjoying a peaceful day. You've been living in this neighborhood for a number of years. Your family, your history is living in this neighborhood. Grandparents, your children visit them. You visited your grandparents here. You have many family members. They live down the street, around the corner from you. You guys come together. You are a community, a neighborhood of people. But you yourself, you're at home resting. You see that? You hear that? The disturbance. You saw it in the film. The shaking, the knocking, the banging. Someone's at the door. So you go to the door. You want to see who is banging, who's knocking at the door. It's a calm day. You weren't expecting anyone. But you go to the door. You get to the door, and there's some people there. Hey, who are you? Hi, I never met you before. They kick the door in as you're talking to them. They kick the door in. They're shouting, they're yelling, they're telling your kids now, your kids, everybody's coming to see what the commotion is about. They get to the living room and you're standing there and there are people around. Everybody's yelling. You've never seen these people before. You don't know who they are. They haven't been in the neighborhood, but they're yelling. They're screaming at you. Now your children become frightened. Your children become frightened. Your children begin to cry. They begin to scream. And you have to calm the children down. Hey, it's going to be okay. Relax, relax. Everything's okay. I'm going to take care of it. It's okay. Don't be afraid. But no matter what you say, you can't calm your children. They're afraid. And one of the reasons they're afraid is because these people who just kicked your door in violently, who abruptly began banging on your door, knocking on your door, these people, they have guns. These people, they have weapons. And they're pointing the weapons at you. They're pointing the weapons at your spouse. They're pointing the weapons at your children. So what do? You can't calm the children down. So you start to inquire, well, who are you people? I've never seen you here before. What are you doing? Why are you here? Why did you kick my door in? Why are you pointing guns at me? But they don't give you any answers. They don't give you any answers. So you happen to have a pet. I don't know. Maybe you have a dog. Maybe you have a goat. Maybe you have a chicken. Maybe. So then they open fire, they shoot live rounds, and they kill your pet. Maybe you have a cat. Maybe you have something, but they kill it so that they can let you know that they're very serious about their intentions. They're very serious about why they came to your home. And you keep asking them, why are you here? Why are you doing this? But you don't get any answers. You just get told to sit down. Sit down, put your hands up, don't move. So you have to obey the instruction. Now remember, you're in your home. It's your home. You live there. You have 3 or 4 bedrooms, you live there. So you sit down as you were instructed to do, and these people come and they talk to you at gunpoint. They're armed, they're in uniforms, they're at gunpoint. So you begin to fear for your life. Because you fear for your life and you fear for the lives of your children, you follow the instructions, you obey. Now, they kick the door down, they come in. So they sit me down and they talk to me. And they explain to me, well, we're here because we expect to live here. This is our home. And we're going to now begin living here. And you're totally surprised. You have no idea what are you talking about? This is your home. I've been living here all of my life. I was a kid. I grew up in this house. This is my parents' home. They left it to me. Their parents left it to them. We've been living here our whole lives. And they tell you, well, that may be the case, but now I'm here and this is going to be my home. Now you have a choice to make. This is what they're telling you. This is going to be their home and they're going to be living in your home, and that you have a choice to make. And it's a very simple choice. And they're telling you directly, and they've already shot and injured your pets. So you know that they're capable of inflicting great harm, that your children are in danger. So you listen. And as they tell you that they're going to be living here, you begin to think, well, okay, well, they must mean that they want me to leave. This is what they must mean, because if they're going to be living here, they're breaking in, it's not their home, they're telling me it's their home now, apparently I'm going to leave. And to your surprise, they tell you, no, you don't have to leave. You can stay here. You don't have any other place to go. You can stay here. But you're going to have to stay in these rooms. Now you're totally surprised, amazed. You can't believe what's happening. you're wondering to yourself, is this possible? Is this Did I just hear him say that he's going to be living here? Him and all of these armed people, these other people, he's going to be living here. And he tells me that I don't have to leave. I can stay here. But I have to stay in this room over here. It's a 4-bedroom house. Imagine a 4-bedroom house. You have a sizable family, 4 bedrooms. And they tell you you can stay, but you're going to live over here. You can come, you can go to the kitchen, you can use the water, you can use the restroom, the bathroom, you can live and function, but you have to stay over here. And if you want to leave the house, you have to let us know. If you try to leave this house without letting us know, we'll kill you. Now, I was shocked to hear this. I was surprised. I couldn't believe what I was hearing because no one would accept this kind of situation. But I'm at gunpoint. I don't really have a choice. I saw what they were willing to do to an animal. I have my children. I want my children to survive. I have my wife, my family, or I have a husband. You have a husband. You don't want to see any harm come to your family, so you agree to the terms that you've been given. Not voluntarily, although it seems like it's voluntarily because they gave you a choice. But it's a no-win choice, a no-win decision, a no-win situation. I can stay alive, but I'm held captive in my own home. I've been here for generations. I've lived here, my whole family. We have a history here. So I'm being captive, held captive, or some people might say imprisoned in my own home. I can come out and function and live and do everything that I want to do under the supervision of these invaders, these captives. Now, some people might say that it's a crime. Now, in America, we have a crime they call it home invasion. Home invasion, meaning you're living remember, we're using our common sense now. So home invasion, just using your common sense. You're in your home. Now, a home is not only the brick and walls. No. A habitat. Your home. Maybe your home is, as we know in many urban areas, any big cities, some people live, their home is under a viaduct, under a traffic bridge. Some people's their home is in a cardboard box. Some people, their home is, you take some shopping carts, you put some blankets around it, and you live in there. Or your home may be a 4-bedroom house, and you're told you're going to live in one room. Now, here's where I'm asking you, are you able to look at this through a common sense lens? And what do I mean by that? Okay. Would you say that this is not a good thing? This situation I'm describing, would you say that it's reasonable that no person, no man, woman, child living in their home would find this to be an enjoyable situation? Is that fair to say? Is it reasonable? Would you say, if it's common sense, nobody would want to have that happen to them? Okay, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and think that you would, most of you, a great majority of you, would say that, yeah, that's just common sense. Nobody would want that to happen to them. Okay. All right. Well, just to kind of finish the story. So the people who are trapped in their home, they can't come out. They finally get told that, okay, it's been 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. You can now leave your home. Okay? You can leave. You can leave. You have to come back to this home. We have your children. If you don't, we'll allow your children to come. But if you will allow your children to come and go, but if you don't return and keep all of your life activity operating out of this home in this community, then we'll kill you. We'll destroy you. Now you're like, what? How long is this going to go on? And you say, well, listen, I have no time frame as to when this would end, but I live here too. Now these are your captors, the people who are your invaders, the people who are imprisoning you. They tell you, well, I don't have a time frame when this will be over. So listen, this is what we'll do. We'll negotiate. I know when I arrived here, I told you this is my home. You disagreed. You said it was your home. So we have a disagreement. But here's what we're going to do. Now, this is your captor talking to you. Your captor, your invader, the person imprisoning you. Some people will call that a crime. As I said, some people will say they're terrorists. Your captor, the person who has invaded your home at gunpoint and held you captive, is now telling you that they're going to negotiate with you. And what they're negotiating is the terms of you and them living together in your home in peace. And their main point is, well, we've already been here for a number of years. However many years, 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. But since we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to divide the house into two main areas. One area you're going to live in, you and your people. Of course, you're living there, but remember, I'm watching you. So you come and you go under my rules and my terms. You are allowed to live here under my rules and my terms. And you're thinking, but this is my house. I've been living here free, without any rules. I'm a grown person. They say, well, listen, we're acting in good faith, and you're not acting in good faith. Now, this is your invader telling you that they're negotiating with you in good faith because it's fair that a good thing is that we share. We should be fair to each other and share. You're thinking, well, but this is my home. You invaded my home. Now you're telling me I have to share my home with you. But even if I had no common sense at all, it doesn't make good sense at all. Even if I had lost all my common sense, I still recognize that you're asking me to share my home where I was living. You invaded and you came in and you want me to share my home with you. Nobody with common sense would agree to that. So your invader, your captor tells you, well, you're just unreasonable. You're an unreasonable person. And you're thinking, what? So you realize that this entire situation is ridiculous. It's not going to change. You can't reason with this person. You've already told them, this is my home. I've been here. Why are you here? They won't listen to you. So to protect your wife and children, you decide that you're going to have to take some action against these invaders. To protect yourself, you're going to have to fight to escape, fight to save your life. And after doing much thinking, you realize, well, I don't really have any other place to go. It's my home. I think with all of my life, my breath in my body, everything about me, my existence, I think I'm going to have to fight to retake, to reclaim, to repossess my home. Now, the captor, when they overhear you talking with your family about what you must do to recapture your home, they call you in a room and they tell you, you're a bad person. You're threatening violence against us. You're threatening violence against us. So you're a bad person. In fact, you're a terrorist. And to your surprise, because you have common sense, you're like, what? I'm a terrorist? You explain to this person, how can you call me a terrorist? You've invaded my home at gunpoint. You kicked my door in. You came in. You shot one of my pets. You threatened me. You told me that I could be next. I could lose my life. Then you live here. I endure this living here for so long. Then you tell me it's indefinite. It's never going to change. And that the only way I can survive is if I allow you and accept it. Okay, we're going to live here in harmony. But under this peace and harmony, you're in control of my home, where I live. And everything that I do is controlled by you. And if I want to stay with some sense of living, some sense of life, then I have to become subjected to you and under your authority. I'm a grown person with a family. I have a wife. She's grown. She is. But I have to subject myself to your authority. This is what you're telling me. And then because I want to fight for my freedom, the freedom of my family, the protection of my home and my future, you call me a terrorist. Oh, okay. Now this is where all of you, I'm asking you. If you were in that situation, because you're living somewhere right now, somebody kick your door in, hold you at gunpoint, and tell you because 50 years, 60 years, or 100 years go by, that now we should be friends and we should accept the fact that we're both going to live in your home. You should accept that. And if you don't accept it, it's something unfair about you. It's something not right about you. You're not a decent person. You're not willing to compromise. You won't allow us to live together. So, and then because you want to fight and put me out, then you're a terrorist. The person who invaded you is telling you this, that you're a terrorist. Okay, now I think you have a good idea of the situation, would you say? I think you do. Using your common sense, if this situation were to happen to you, do you have the right, the natural right, to defend yourself, to protect yourself, to protect your family? Do you have the right to take any steps necessary to remove the threat to your life, your family, and your prosperity? Do you have that right? If you looked out the window at all of your neighbors and you saw what happened to you is happening to them, and the same thing happened to all of y'all, would all of you come together? And if you came together and decided that all of you are going to take action to remove the threats to your life, would your common sense tell you that you are not doing anything wrong by protecting yourself, protecting your children, fighting for your freedom, fighting for your liberation? Put down in the comments whether you think if that situation happened to you, you would be in your right mind to try to protect yourself. Now, that's the end of that situation. Please comment below. I'm going to mention one thing before we go. We're going to close. Remember at the beginning of this episode, this broadcast, I told you about your common sense being removed, replaced with some education. If that education tells you that people in this situation that I just described are bad people because they, after a number of years, decide to take action, use violence to become free, then that's miseducation because it's leaving out so many very important details that would help you see clearly what is taking place. If you are unable to recognize that, along with most things, there's a history associated with how those events unfolded, why, who, where, when, what, then if you are unable to consider those other very important aspects, then you're probably on that side of the fence that your common sense has been removed and it has been replaced with education. There's another word for education: propaganda. And if you've allowed that education to focus your mind and your thoughts to see things through the lens of the people providing you with that education, then you are misinformed, bamboozled, hoodwinked, swindled. And if you think that those things really don't matter because it's happening to those people over there, then your life is in danger, because it's a matter of time, just a matter of time, before what is happening to those people over there begins to happen to you over here. And as I told you in the beginning, we're talking about people who look like you and me. And if your common sense has been removed and replaced with education, those of you with the education in politics, economics, sociology, those subjects dealing with our communal aspects of living together, if it's been removed, let me help you refocus and bring back, if possible, a little bit of your common sense with this last piece of history. Facts that no education can distort, change, or remove, because they're facts. That story that I just told you, where someone is in their home, someone kicks their door in and tells them, now this is my home. You can stay here, you can live here, but you live over there in that room. You can interact, you can come out of that room, but you can do that under my authority and under my rules, under my government. This fact of history has played itself out throughout the course of this world by a particular group of people. You notice I said this fact in history. Groups of people have come from one continent to another continent finding people living in the other continent and have killed and removed those people from that continent and then claimed that continent as their own. Gave it a name, gave it an address. They allowed some people to live in that continent, to remain in a certain area of that continent. That continent was those people's home. And now they live in what is essentially a room, a small space, rooms throughout the continent. And for those of you who don't know, this particular continent, and it's not alone, but this particular continent is a continent of North America. This fact of history. People were in their home, minding their business. Other people came, kicked down the door with guns and weapons, and told the people, now this is our home. And when those people decided to fight for their homes, settlers, North America, native people or indigenous people, whatever you want to call them, when they decided to fight to protect their home and their families, they were called savages, terrorists, uncivilized individuals. Fact of history. Those people were destroyed, removed from history, and not talked about. Now, that's the story and history of the United States of America. But it's not alone. Australia, same story. Same story. There are other places in the world where this story has played itself out, and the common element in each story is the same people invading. Rearranging history with education, removing the common sense to recognize what really happened, what the reality was. Now, that 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 500 years, these are facts of history. Well, you see modern day history taking place with Palestine and Israel. This is what you have here. And currently, your common sense is being removed and replaced with the education of the mainstream media telling you the people who have been invaded are the terrorists. So, we're going to conclude here. You tell me what you think. Please leave a note in the comments. And remember, which side of the fence will you be on? The educated side of the fence? Or the common sense side of the fence? My name is Thomas. This is an episode of the African Times. Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.